We're live. Hi. Yo, what's up, y'all? It's me, your boy Calvo. I'm here with the homie Lance Tom.
What's up? What's up?
And it's definitely been a minute. We've been a little busy, and the world's been pretty fucking crazy right now.
I would say so, man. Pretty fucking wild.
Um,
I can't even explain it.
so, with the title of our episode, second episode of the second season, um, I just want to do like a little disclaimer. The shit, or not the shit, the topics that we're about to discuss, things that we're going to talk about, very serious. Um, we've been going back and forth with a lot of ideas about what we wanted to say and everything, and we at first we kind of just like wanted to put something out, but we wanted to make sure that what the content that we're going to put out, we wanted to make sure that one, it's in a good place. We're doing this because we believe that what we're discussing, we feel very strongly about. We believe in the fight that we're fighting for. We believe in the cause, and that we are adding something to the conversation. We're not just doing it because everyone else is doing it, because it's like it's going to be trending or whatever. We're doing this because it's something we feel very strongly about.
That's right. Um, this is coming from my heart. Me and Bo have been talking about this for about 2 weeks. This is this is a crazy moment, crazy time in our lives right now that I think we should. Me and Bo was thinking just voice how we feel, and hopefully, we can change the world one day at a time, right?
Yeah, or be a positive influence. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, going into that, Lance, how do you want to start this? What are we specifically talking about tonight?
How do we start this? We're specifically talking about George Floyd, Black Lives Movement, Black Lives Matter, the situation that's going on with the world right now. Um, just almost, just this really, I don't even know how to put it in words. It's just we have to talk about our Black brothers and sisters. That they've been dying, they've been getting killed by these cops, and we just wanted to voice our opinion, like how it's going on, how it's affecting us. Yep, that's pretty much. We'll base off the songs as well too. What's been going on in the past 20 years or more of these songs that have been coming out, and we're gonna basically, how would I say this? Basically, America hasn't changed at all, and we're trying to see why hasn't it changed throughout these years.
Yeah. Um. So, our podcast is normally just about hip hop. We talk about hip hop. We discuss all things about hip hop, and we feel that because of our love of hip hop, we feel that we are part of the culture. This is something that shaped us ever since that we were younger, we were little. You know, like the music, the culture, everything. You think about just fashion or the way you talk, all those things comes from like a hip hop background. And we believe that if you love hip hop, you have to be down with like Black Lives Matter. You can't say you love hip hop and say that, oh, I don't have a stance on it. Like I'm neutral about that. You you can't do that shit. You don't have the privilege to do that. You don't have the luxury of saying shit like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. This is something strong that we have to talk about. We were raised by this culture. Um, as an Asian American, I'm Asian American, so it's Kyle Vo, and we're born with this culture. We can't not speak out.
Yeah,
We have to say something.
we and I can't speak for like all Asians. I can only speak as an Asian American because like ethnicity wise, yeah, I'm Asian, but culturally, I'm American. An Asian person born in America culturally is way different from an Asian person that's born in Asia. So, regardless of like how our traditions and customs are and how your family raises you, how your parents choose to raise you and your family, you still, regardless being here in America, you're still brought up with American influences. And something that bothers me a lot, especially in East East Asian countries, are how racist they are. Like plain and simple. You think of like say I'm Vietnamese. You think about Vietnamese people. I know a lot of Vietnamese people that don't like other Vietnamese people. I know a lot of Vietnamese people that don't like Chinese people because, like for whatever reason, they don't like Chinese people because a stereotype is like, oh, Chinese people are cheap, whatever. Like they'll just try to take your money, this that. Or they don't like Cambodian people because they say, oh, Cambodians are like a bunch of thugs or some shit like that. Or they don't like Japanese people or Korean people because they say, oh, Koreans think they're better than everyone else. Japanese people don't like Chinese people. Korean people don't like Japanese people. There are all these like just interracial, just like racist remarks and shit that like people have.
Hmm. No, exactly. And I agree with that. As Chinese American, I was born here in the United States. In Chinese culture, man, Chinese culture can be real racist at times. Uh, I'm thankful for getting brought up into American culture. Um, uh, Having my parents tell me, don't judge anybody by the skin color. Uh, it's definitely crazy. Times hasn't changed the way I see it. With
Hmm.
everything going on, it's it hasn't changed at all since I was little, like 5 6 years old. How I imagine that. Now I'm 28. I see it. I've been through a lot. We all been through a lot, and I feel like American hasn't changed at all. Um, and yeah, it's very hard to it's very hard to describe, because racism is everywhere. It's been like
It's
that for.
yeah, and maybe some people feel on the other side they feel that like, oh, racism wasn't such a big thing until recently, and it's like, nah, dude, it's racism has always existed and it's always been a huge issue, and uh, I guess we'll kind of talk about it a little more when we go over some songs that we want to talk about, songs and albums from artists that they've released throughout the years that kind of just talk about the current issues that are going on right now, the current state of events, police brutality, systematic racism, and how this shit hasn't changed. It's been like this for forever, you know? And like Lance says, he's it's funny because he said that he's a Chinese American. His parents are Chinese, grew up in America, and they taught him that you don't judge people based on their skin color, or you judge them based on like their actions. Are they a good person? Like what do they do? Are they doing bad things? Are they doing good things? And just because like say a white person, a black person, a Hispanic person does bad things, it doesn't mean you say that, oh, they're all bad. It's just like, nah, that individual person's bad. You can't blame everyone and say everyone's bad. you
Yeah,
know
exactly,
and like
exactly.
from like,
And
I don't know, go ahead.
oh, well, I'm just gonna continue. Like you were saying, I mean, it's really sickening to see everything come out. I think it's been changing these past couple of years, not in a good way, but in a bad way. It's getting worse and worse. We see cops killing African American people almost every year, right? There was such a big killing. You got Oscar Grant, you got George Floyd, you got Aubrey, who was just jogging and he got shot, and it was in February. We just found out in May. There's a lot of stories that we found out after George Floyd that I didn't know about, that the media's been hiding about, and it's very sad, because you know they're not. You can see all the videos, you can see what's been going on, and it feels like these cops are not getting handled the way we think they should. It's on video, it's on camera, and they know it. And it's I don't know. The world's kind of funny. The world's kind of weird, you know, in a way. Like I don't. There's no justice at all. No justice, no peace. And
It's yeah. Um, Going off what you're saying, it's a system that doesn't work. It's a broken system, and something that I say a lot is that you, us as individuals, we need to be the change that we want, and it all starts with us. You feel that something's wrong, you need to do something about it. But what can you do? You know? And
exactly.
my whole thing is that like for instance, like the protests. There are a lot of people that are like mixing up with like the protests with like rioting and looting, you know, and like I'm at first I didn't agree with like a lot of like the riots and the looting, you know, like people going down destroying stores and everything because like I think of like my own business, like my family's got a business, and I think that dude, what if like you know they come down and like they smash our shit and like they loot our store, but at the same time, you know, at the same time I'm like, that's valid though, just because yeah, it would suck, but the frustration that people have, you know, like they don't want it to like get to this point, but like it got to this point, you know, and then also there, you know, if people say that the people there that are like starting violence and everything, you know, like they aren't there for the protests. You see tons of people talking about how the protests are like super peaceful, you know, people going out there marching and you know like kneeling down and praying and everything, and it's all super peaceful. But then at some point, as soon as it hits dark, you know, it's like boom, something happens, you know, certain instigators and everything.
Exactly. I think the media only shows the bad things. I believe the protest is helping a lot with the
Definitely.
system. This
Yeah,
is they're showing the looting. They're not showing the
it's
protesting how it's shaped or formed. The media only wants to show you based on they want to pertain African Americans as villains,
mm-hmm.
and that's not right at all. It's really wrong how the media portrays them. It's really sickening. They've been going strong for about a month now, right? With all the protesting, I believe so. At
Yeah.
least 25 days, and I believe, I hope they the media, the system gets it right. I hope they realize that look, this is wrong. This is what's been going on. It's really really crazy, and I hope we get justice soon because this is too much enough. It's been 4 months and we had at least six African Americans gunned down, shot down, and there's no justice still. It takes a long time to get justice for some reason. Even though you have it on video, if you know you have it on camera, um, when do they get justice? When do we get justice? When do we get peace? We haven't gotten peace in a long, long time. I don't think I hope that we can settle this because this is very disheartening. You know,
Personally, what do you think? What what change do you think needs to happen for us to move forward? Or do you have an answer, or you just like you don't even know because like this whole thing's like so fucked?
I mean, it's been going on for so long, man. I mean, there was even a killing in our city, San Francisco, Oscar Grant, man, on New Year's. And that's disheartening to have it in your own city as well, too. Because the Bay Area is such a melting pot. You don't feel like there's racism is there, but there is racism everywhere. And I don't know what needs to be changed. I can't even put it in words. Like is racism gonna stop anytime soon, or are we gonna keep going? Like I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. Like, it's a very hard question to. It's very hard to answer that question because you want peace, you want love, you want justice, but when are we gonna get it? This is like one of many killings that we experience in our whole 28 years of living, you know. Um, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to this, you know, and it's very it's very disheartening that I don't know because this it's been a lot been going on. Uh, something's gotta happen, but I don't know myself. I don't think nobody knows either what needs to be happen, but it needs to stop, and we need justice sooner or later, you know.
I agree. I honestly don't know, like what change needs to happen because a lot of it, I feel like, just stems from us as like humans. You know, you. I think. Who was it? I think I was listening to like David So. He's like a YouTuber. He also runs. He also does like a podcast, and he talks about how he mentioned how maybe like you aren't. Say you have a friend, and your friend you've known your friend for how long, but and your friend says something that's like kind of like borderline racist, but you unsure of like how to really feel about that because this person is like a great person, but then he just said something that's like so like way out there, you know? And then you think it's just like, what do I do here? You know? And then where does that come from? You know the person isn't say like or you think that the person isn't racist because of say his upbringing, his people in his family, people his friend group and everything, right?
Hmm.
But then you hear him say something, it's just like, yo, dude, like that wasn't cool. And why did you say that? Like, where is that coming from? And I often think of like using that example. I often think of like Asian culture or growing up with like around a bunch of Asians. How maybe you aren't racist towards other people, but you have this. You're you either don't like black people or you're afraid of black people, and you just stereotype them more than anyone else. And I get tired of hearing like this excuse. You know, they'll always say that like, oh, I don't like black people because like, oh, I grew up in a shitty ass neighborhood. You don't understand. Like, you don't know what it's like being called like a chink or other racial slurs, derogatory terms, like growing up, and then people starting fights with you because like you look different and everything. And I'm like, okay, like yeah, that's shitty, but that doesn't mean everyone's like that. You know,
Hmm.
you encountered a couple bad people that just so happen to be, like a certain ethnic group, and you're just now saying that they're all like that. And people, and something that I hear a lot in the Asian community now is you bring up like COVID. They talk about how like there are a lot of racial attacks against people in the Asian community, like or Asian people, and now with the recent killing of George Floyd, and you now are on this topic of police brutality and everything, people are trying to say that like where were where were where was the black community? Where was like the Latino community when us as Asians were getting attacked? These were the same people that were attacking us out on the streets, and it's just like, do you not understand that? Like, do you not understand what you're saying?
Hmm.
You know, because like how you feel right now is like how black people feel every day. You know, you walk out the street and it's just like, yo, like, or I don't know that for a fact. I'm only just saying, just based off of like what I hear people tell me. It's like how we feel right then. It's just like when the whole COVID thing started, you go to the store, are people giving you these weird looks and everything? You know, they're avoiding you. They're looking at you a different way. They don't look at you as like you're a human. That's what black people in America live with every day. And I'm just like, now knowing how they feel, how can you still be, how can you still stand on like the other side of like this fence, you know? Like, how
Yeah,
can you be like so way out there and still feel this, whatever you're feeling against them? that's
That's
the
it.
that's the shit I don't understand.
I don't understand it either. I mean, people are screaming all lives matter, but it's Black Lives Matter that are getting hit the most.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like,
No, but
whenever I hear someone say all lives matter, as like to like protest against Black Lives Matter, it's just like you can't say no, Black lives don't matter, all lives matter. But it's just like, yo, bitch, Karen, shut the fuck up and listen. You can't say all lives matters without saying Black Lives Matter, because Black Lives Matter literally means all lives matter. You know, they're saying that all lives should matter equally, and right now, they feel that like Black lives don't matter at all. They're treated less than equal. They feel like lesser human beings.
exactly. And
And motherfucker Karen wants to come out here and be like, no, dude, all lives matter, this and that, and it's just like, I feel like it's a certain demographic of people that live in certain areas that kind of just live in either small, closed communities that don't really get out there in the world and don't see things. You know,
hmm
if you live in like a small town that's like 3,000 people and you never experience like any of these problems, you see it in the news and like social media and everything, and it's just like, no, these people are fucking lying. It's not like that. You know, like where I live, it's not like that. It can't be like that anywhere else. How the fuck would you know if you never leave where you live? You know? And yes, I'm talking about you, fucking middle America. Um,
yeah, I don't get I don't get it. I mean, I see a lot of videos every day on Twitter about racism everywhere. Like a lot of white people are so racist to African Americans. Like, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, we're supposed to be united as one, but somehow America's been split. America's been split ever since Trump has been in office. And I feel like I feel like it's been even more split than ever because they show the true colors now, and they're not afraid to be racist towards African American people. They're not. They're not. They're just they're blind. They're blind to see that our African American brothers and sisters have been getting killed, have been getting disowned, have been really not been treated right this whole time, And it's very sickening to think that, why do I have to worry about my black brothers and sisters more than all my other friends? Like that's really disheartening to me because, at any moment in time, a cop, an officer can pull them over and, gun them down for no reason. And we've seen that so many times. Have it on video. No cops. Some cops haven't even been charged. Some stories are being pulled up, um, out of the blue now since everybody's talking about it. I read a kid named Elijah. He's an introvert, which means he's very shy. I mean, he's a very livid person. He's very shy, but he's okay. He loves people. He used to play. He used to play like his violin to Stray Cat to calm him down.
oh, dude,
Um,
I, yeah, that
yeah, and
that was fucked up.
this story is so like really fucked up because this kid he has anemia, right? So he wears a mask to cover him because his face gets so cold so fast, and somehow somebody called 911 on him saying he was a suspicious character walking. He was walking home, literally walking home. I think he went to like the grocery store. It was like a Trayvon Martin
Yeah,
moment,
they said he was like
almost the same
dancing.
exact thing. And cops, there's like 6 cops holding him down. Uh, you know, um, they like handcuffed him, and all he was saying that I love you guys. I don't have a gun on me. I don't even eat meat. I don't even judge people eating meat. That's like his last words. Like I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And they injected him with
Ketamine.
ketamine. Yeah, and ketamine. I guess I don't know.
It's
It's
like a
just so fast.
tranquilizer. It's like an
Yeah,
animal tranquilizer.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but you see what I'm saying, right? Like 6 cops over one kid, man. One kid that didn't have a gun.
This is
Did he even
this
I
is
don't get it. He didn't even fight. He was saying he was telling the cops that he loved the cops.
It's
that he loves you guys, you know,
you
and that was his last words.
you hear shit like this, dude, and you wonder why people are like, fuck the police, dude, like fuck the pigs, like fuck the 12 man, these like these officers, they're not trained to deal with these individuals in like certain situations, and instead of like de-escalating things, they're just going to escalate things further and further, and it gets to a point where it's just like, how can this person remain calm when you have like how many cops with like guns pulled out pointed at his face, dude? And it's like, yo, what did I do? And you're trying to tell me to remain calm when like i I feel like I'm about to fucking die. You know, it's just like, why do you have a gun drawn out at me in the first place? Like, what did I do? And the cops will never say, like, what they did, you know? And they always just try to be like, calm down, calm down. It's just like, yo, how could I say calm in a situation like this? And it's just like, it's sickening, dude. And I'm afraid. Something I'm really afraid about is it, it keeps happening, and how soon is it are we going to start becoming like numb to this? Something that I think about a lot is all the mass shootings in America,
Hmm.
schools and stuff. You think of how often it happens, and there's whenever it happens, it's like this huge tragedy, but it's a tragedy for that day. It's a tragedy when you find out for like that hour, and then you're just like, oh shit, like RIP to those people, and then the next day you just like move on, and it's just like it's we've become so like desensitized to shit like this,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Cops don't even realize they killed like a brother, a sister, a father, a mother, like a cousin or uncle. You can't bring those lives back. I don't get it why they shoot first and ask questions later. It should always be the other way around. Ask questions. I mean, why are these cops like so scared of them when they're not even doing anything? They're like agreeing with the cops and they're doing massive force to them. Like George Floyd, like putting your knee on his neck, like that's crazy. Like why? Why? I don't get the whole concept. Or Eric Gardner. Eric Gardner was just selling cigarettes on the corner. Wasn't even doing anything. Wasn't even like a suspect at all. And then they just choked him to death. Like it seems like cops are not learning what from
you
what other cops are doing.
you
And they just were like, okay, so this cop did this, okay, then I have the right to do that as well too. No, that's not. You should learn from these. You should learn not to do these things. Like it's like America doesn't learn their lesson. Like the cops haven't learned their lesson. And they just keep killing African American people every single day, every year.
it,
No,
it
go ahead. Go.
no you can finish.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm done.
uh, it's yeah, it's a lack of training that these officers have. You think about the requirements that you need to become a cop here in America. You need a high school diploma or GED, and then you need to enter the academy and graduate from the academy, and then after that you're essentially just in the police force, you know.
I just feel like they don't get no training.
Yeah,
I read somewhere that like a barber gets more training than a cop. He gets like 1600 hours. A cop gets
it's
860 hours.
yeah, no,
Whether
absolutely.
if it's whether if the numbers are wrong or not. I mean, if a barber still gets more hours, whether it's 100 more hours or 200 more hours or 50 more hours, why are we not giving the same amount of hours as cops? Why are cops getting so limited hours? Like they need to train more about the system, about racism. Like you can't do these to people.
You
Like what if like Elijah? What if he's still alive? What if he's going to become a doctor? What if like Trayvon Martin? Like what are these kids that are getting killed for no reason? What if they could have been something? And these cops they took them away from their moms, their pops, their families. It's very it's crazy. It's really crazy how like the world works. You know?
If you compare it to like certain countries, I guess I'll use like Europe as an example. You you see that it will take like 2 3 years of training. You know, it's practically like going to college and like having to graduate and get a degree. It's you have to spend the time, the training, learn how to be a cop. And here in America, it's the exact opposite. And it's like Golden Rico, someone in the chat, he's saying it's why should why should America learn when they know they can just get away with it? It's they're deeper rooted problems, and until we address those issues, things will never change. You know, and I guess like that's what I asked earlier. You know, it's how are we going to tackle those issues? What are we going to do to make that change?
Yep.
Uh,
You gotta start somewhere. You know.
um, and so also for like tonight's episode, we also wanted to keep this like hip hop. We talking about how much hip hop has influenced us, the culture, and just America in general. You think about it now, hip hop is more popular than pop. Hip hop is probably one of the biggest, is like maybe the number one genre right now, or you know, one of the top genres. It'd be like hip hop, pop, EDM, and then that's like something else I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about hip hop and I'm very passionate about EDM. And you see how like EDM or hip hop culture kind of like bleeds into EDM culture.
Hmm.
And I just think that like in say like the EDM community, you're saying that you're tired of seeing like Black Lives Matters and everything. Like you say you're tired of it. You just want to move on. And it's just like you do you understand that like house music was created by a black person? You know,
No, absolutely.
and it's like how can you say you love EDM but not be down for the cause, not down for the fight, not just it's like if you just make it not about race, it's just like it's treating humans like humans. It's just loving each other, and you know that's some shit that bothers me.
I don't think people know the history about a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of African American culture has built a lot of things for us. You know, about built a lot of opportunities like hip hop culture. You know, 99.9% of artists that I listen to are African American. You know, they're it's just a strong culture, and people would want to say all lives matter still, even though they love hip hop. Like why? You know what I'm saying, like Black Lives Matter because Black Lives matter, and like you said, Kyle, like they're getting treated like their lives don't matter.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they're being treated like less than human.
Exactly. I mean, without black culture, there is no hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like this culture raised me. You know, as an Asian American, I wasn't raised with Chinese culture, with Chinese tradition. I was raised with hip hop, with the African American culture. I was based my life on it. I was growing up to this. I love this culture so much, and it sickens me that they're getting treated so badly. For what? It's been so long. It's been like I don't know since the 1800s. And it's still going on. It's still showing. Like in Oakland, my hometown, our
Mm.
hometown, they're fucking hanging nooses in the trees.
Oh, dude, that
Like
was fucking
that's
disgusting.
that's fucking nasty, bro. Like that's crazy. Like why would somebody fucking do that? That's so crazy. Like come on, like the Bay Area is supposed to be a melting pot, and not to be racist and stuff like that, but come on, hanging from a dude. That's very. It just made me sad. That my own city, that people would actually do that. You know.
You, if you think about who the leader of our country is, our current president, you know, it's like these people, these racists, they feel that it's all of a sudden it's okay to come out now because if I have a president that feels how I feel, it's okay to feel how I feel. I'm coming out of the woodwork now, and it's just like fuck all these other motherfuckers. And dude, that's I just don't know, dude. It makes you lose faith in humanity. You
No,
know.
it does. Like, it's like, when are we gonna change? When are we gonna start to change? When are we going to stop this?
Well,
It's I can't even think of a timeline to when it's gonna stop because it keeps getting worse and worse each and every year.
well, like in hip hop, you could go back as like you think of like how hip hop started, you know,
Hmm.
in the late 70s and the early 80s, and it was always about like the people, you know, and their living situations and like it's always I felt that hip hop was always like you think of like rebels, you know, you're trying to fight back, you literally like fight the power, you know, like these powers that be, and like you think of groups like the most popular, like a big one would be Public Enemy, you know, Fight the Power, that came out in like 88, 89, and um was it Chuck D, he said that, you know, it doesn't literally mean like fight against like say authoritative figures or the government or whatever, or it could mean that, but you know, right then he's just talking about like police brutality. He's talking about racial profiling. He's talking about how, as a black person, as an African American, that if at that time, you know, I walk down the street, you know, a cop's gonna follow me in his car for like 2 blocks, say whatever to me, you know, and the moment that they think that I'm doing something wrong, dude, he can get out and bust me right there.
Exactly.
And,
And
you know,
that's 1989, and this is 2020, and
and like it just goes on and on. Like we have a list here just from like 88 all the way to 2020. And we don't have everything, but we picked out songs or albums that really stood out to us, and you know, we feel that we could talk about because we know them very well. But like NWA, one of their greatest songs, like "Fuck the Police." You know, like how did that song come around? And like, for instance, like right here, I have a quote from like MC Ren that he did way back in '89. He says, "I think it's just wrong. Just because I'm a black man, I get jacked by the police." Now, don't get me wrong. There seems to be 90% bad police and 10% good police. But why do or there's 90% good police, 10% bad police. But why do the 10% have to mess it up for like the 90%? You know, he thinks that, or I think blacks seem to be stereotyped by the police. So when you get stopped for a traffic ticket, you'll most probably be slammed down on the street corner like he robbed a bank, or robbed a bank. Sorry, and he's absolutely right. Like you apply that to modern day, right now. What happened with George Floyd? His they said that what was it? Someone called saying that he paid with like what, a counterfeit $20 bill. You
a
know,
counterfeit $20, yes, at a grocery store, bro. A
and
grocery store, and the guy wanted to call the cops on him just
uh,
because of that.
and
That's
you
fucking insane.
you go to this and then you think of this and it's just like, dude, it's like, all right, first of all, you know, it wasn't even proven that that the $20 he used was counterfeit. Second of all, it's like, all right, well, you know, if he's a fake $20 bill or whatever, that's like what, a little like misdemeanor charge or whatever. That's like just like, oh, here's a ticket, whatever. See you in court. There was no need to escalate it to like to where it got, and because it escalated that far, a man lost his life.
Yeah, I mean that's something that you should never call the cops for. $20, counterfeit $20, even if it was counterfeit or not. Like, that doesn't give you the right to do that. You made somebody lose their life over a $20 bill, and that doesn't seem right. I don't know. I feel like if he was white, the people wouldn't care. They'd be like, okay, well, you can't pay with this bill, you have to pay with another bill. But
Mm.
for some reason, if he's because he's black, they call the cops on him. That doesn't seem right at all. It doesn't seem fair. You know?
I saw something on Twitter that someone tweeted, and it was like, and it kind of like really stood out to me because this person said, if I use a $20 bill, it was like I think it was like some white lady. She said that if I use a $20 bill or a counterfeit $20 bill at a store, later that night, it could be something that I will talk about like while having dinner, and it's like something you laugh off, you know. But if I was black and I used a 20 like counterfeit $20 bill, then there's a big chance that I will end up like George Floyd, and that's like something, and just like that right there, dude. You know, like I read that and I was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like she's right, and that's fucking scary. Um, we're gonna like kind of like jump a little far, but the next song I wanted to talk about by an artist would be Tupac, and one of his most famous songs, "Changes." And whenever I hear this song, and especially now when I listen to it, what I think, you know, like he talks about the difficulty of being black in America, how the system is always against you, how no matter what you do, how much money you make, how famous you are, how like even if like you hold any like influence or power, none of that shit matters because in America you'll always just be a black man first, a black person first, and because of that, all that other shit doesn't matter, and you're gonna be treated differently, and it won't. And once they find out who you are, and then they realize that you have money, you have influence, and like all these other things, then they're gonna realize that oh shit, like I fucked up. Like Dave Chappelle talked about this in one of his stand-ups recently, where he talks about the cop. A cop pulled him over and asked for his identification, like ID and like car registration and all that shit, and he said, like he didn't have it, and he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And the officer was like, "All right, yeah, you're Dave Chappelle," and then Dave was like, "All right, so why do you need to see my ID and all that?" And then the officer laughed and like let him go. And then later on, like a couple months later, that officer killed a person, like killed a black man for I forget what Dave said it was, but it was like in that situation, Dave was trying to say that like if that person was like a little bit famous or had some type of influence or money or whatever, then like it could have been different, but he was still would have been treated how he was treated, and that's
Like Tupac said, that's just the way it is. You know? There's a lyric on that Changes song that they caught my eye now that I realize it. I don't, it's crazy. It says cops give a damn about an N word. Pull the trigger, kill the N word. He's a hero. And I feel like that's happening today. You know, there's two cops that came out of bail. Um, both of them, I felt like I think they had GoFundmes to fucking get them out of bail.
oh yeah.
One was roaming around the grocery store, the other one's probably at home, and they're treating these cops as heroes because they killed George. Like that doesn't. It's so crazy. Like, and this is back in 1998 with Tupac. Talked about, and like if this song came out today, it would be so relevant. And it's very. I don't know. These lyrics just speak highly of me now. For the past 4 or 5 years because I've just been seeing over and over again. And it's very like it's very sad. It's very sad to come to this point.
Yeah, and like you also think about Pac, you just think of like yeah, like what he embodied, like yeah, like he embodied like the whole like thug life, like West Coast like gangster and everything, but the shit he talked about was real, you know?
Hmm.
Especially you just think of this song, like you listen to it and a certain you feel a certain type of way. And I think that's what makes like Pac like one of the great rappers is because like maybe lyrically or like mechanically, he's not doing crazy shit with his raps, but just like his cadence, his delivery, everything he says, you can feel it.
And
You know?
yeah, the older generation thinks that why do we worship Pac so much? Because Pac was our leader. I'm saying? Pac was was Black Panthers. You know, his mom was in the
Hmm.
Black Panthers. He was a leader, and that's what he showed us. You know, in all his interviews, I don't think there's not one that he talks about police brutality or the way we're treated. And those interviews, man, those are like legendary. You know, people go back to those interviews and say that yes, Pac was that guy. Pac was our savior. You know what I'm saying? And somehow, some way, got killed, and it sucks because you know what if Pac was here right now? What if maybe something would have been better? Something would have changed. You know?
I definitely think,
I would,
yeah, he would have been like a leader in this movement. Mm. So, going on to the next song, and this was something that you you brought up, and I didn't remember the song, but after I listened to it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember hearing this when we were younger. But you asked me just like, what do you think of the song? What like what can you take from it? You know? And dude, I don't have an answer. And the song that we're talking about is Jadakiss, Why. The song came out in like '04, and Lance, I'll let you talk on it. You know, I'll let you talk about it because you wanted to bring it up, and like,
yeah, yeah. So Jadakiss is why came out 2004, and it says it in the title. Like, why this, why that? You know, a couple of lyrics over here, like I don't know, it's a very powerful song, you know, because Jadakiss in this song asks a lot of questions, right? Like, why Aaliyah have to take that? Why did Bush knock down the towers? You know, why did Denzel have to be crooked before he took it? And I think, you know, it asks a lot of questions like why, and none of the people have the answers to it. And I feel like we don't have these answers to it today. You know, as like one of the lyrics is why they let the Terminator win the election. If you replace that, why they let a TV star be president? You know, and I feel like this song can reach out to many more questions that we will never get the answers to. And I think that's why I feel like Jadakiss made this song because you know not a lot of people know the answers to these questions. And
yeah, like, um, I think you brought it up too. Like, in one of the verses, he asked why Denzel have to be crooked before he took it, and that's reference to like,
Training Day.
Denzel. Yeah, he didn't win. Like, what was it, an Oscar? Yeah, it was. He didn't win an Oscar until, or yeah, is it an Oscar?
Yeah,
Let me see.
an
So
Oscar.
it's just,
So yeah. Basically, what Kyle's saying, Denzel Washington hasn't won an Oscar until Training Day. People don't know Training Day is when Denzel Washington. You guys haven't seen it. Spoiler alert: he's a crooked cop. Now, the media presented him as a crooked cop, and he won an Oscar for it. But why? That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, he played Malcolm X. You know, he played all these leaders. He played like good roles that show how strong African American males present themselves. But he has to be a crooked cop in order to win an Oscar. So you're saying that the media presents strong African males as villains. They have to be villains in the media. You know, that's how they present themselves. That's how they can succeed by being a villain. But that doesn't make any sense, you know, because he played Malcolm X. He was amazing at Malcolm X. You know,
mm,
I thought he was Malcolm X. You know how he played so well, but he didn't win nothing. And that upset that line from that song. Why? It's literally my favorite line because, like, yeah, why did he have to be crooked before he took it? That doesn't make any sense. You know, I don't get it to this day. You know, I mean, it's so crazy how you have to be a villain in order to win uh, an Oscar or you know anything. You know, you're portrayed as a villain, and that's how people see it nowadays. Like as African males, they see African males as villains, and that's wrong. That's wrong in every single way. I'm saying like that doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know this song. it's 2004. Yeah, it's a lot of lyrics that are so old. But some of these lyrics are actually so
It's very
relevant.
like it's you could tell from like the era that it came from. You know, like the time. It
Yeah.
definitely talks about the time because, uh, like I looked at this song and like I was a little skeptical at first, like putting it on this list and talking about it, but like when you started giving your opinion about it and everything, I was just like, all right, yo, like I'm gonna trust Lance on this. He knows what he's talking about on this, because some of the shit he says on here just kind of like talks about like just shit as life as a rapper. You know, like he talks about like why people always be lying on their raps and stuff. Like how come he's like the hottest shit in New York, but he ain't popping off in LA and stuff like that. So
And there's one line that says, "If it's all love, Daddy, why you come with your nine?" That's those cops, they butter you up. They give you questions. They're trying to be your friend, and all of a sudden they gun you down. Like
that's
that.
yes,
That's
yes.
that's a lyric right there. Like, if it's all love, then why'd you shoot me down?
You
Why are you talking to me so softly, and then all of a sudden I'm on the floor and I can't breathe?
one of my
You know?
yeah, and an example that I want to use is one of my close homies now lives out in Oregon, over in Portland, and he was at a protest at a park, and then he like streamed it live, and everything was cool, and then the media was there, and when the media was there, the cops took a knee. They took a knee with the people, and then the protesters took a knee, and then they were all kneeling and they were silent for about an hour, and then the media left. And then as soon as the media left, about an hour later, dude, the cops just started popping off on people, dude. They just started tear gassing them and everything, dispersing the crowd, and it was just like, yo, it was peaceful, and it's just like you saying, yo, they're gonna play nice, they're gonna be peaceful when the cameras are there, show that have this image or whatever, and as soon as the cameras are gone, it's just like, yo, what evidence, like and it's just it's some shit, man. Um, so jumping from there, we're gonna talk about we're gonna go a little more modern or more up to date, but Kendrick Lamar, and I love Kendrick Lamar, and I saw a lot of shit on the internet, people calling out Kendrick like, "Yo, Kendrick, where you at? How come you're not out here? Like, why your social media is so like so so blank? Like, why aren't you posting anything? Why aren't you saying anything?" And at first I was just like, oh yeah, like that is true. Like, why aren't these people, these leaders, people, or why aren't these artists, people who are held in a very high standard, who people believe are leaders in their communities, why aren't they out there saying anything? Why aren't they doing anything? And then, I agreed with that, but then I really thought about it. It's just like, yo, how long has, say, for instance, like Kendrick been making music talking about this? How long has he been trying to tell people about this? And even before Kendrick, an artist, one of my favorite artists that I always talk about, Lupe Fiasco. Like, where were y'all when Lupe was talking about all this shit? How come all of a sudden, like, back then, Lupe was too woke. Lupe was crazy. Lupe was like this and that. And then, shit started popping off. And it's just like, well, like, I don't blame the guy. And it's not like he's not fighting the good fight anymore. It's just, you know, they, I don't want to say they're low key about it, but your actions speak louder than words. And I agree, if you have a platform, you should use that platform, to spread a positive message and everything. But at the same time, if you're out there on the streets, and you're doing your part and you're helping your community and everything, like people can't say shit for that, And we're gonna come back to this again because there's a certain J. Cole song that came out that people are trying to cancel J. Cole, and uh,
We got explanation.
yeah. But one song we want to talk about off Section 80, which I think is one of his best albums, mixtape.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
High Power, and you listen to High Power and like you, it's like it's like being able to walk into Kendrick's like mind. Like High Power was inspired. You listen to it, it was inspired by like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and it's a song about his beliefs, how he believes in the ideologies of Martin Luther King about peace and social advancements for people of color, especially in the black community. But at the same time, it also conflicts with his beliefs that he has with Malcolm X, which is on the opposite side of the spectrum. It's not as peaceful. It's like if Martin Luther King would be like the people who are protesting peacefully, but Malcolm X are the people who is just like, yo, we've been doing this peacefully for so long, and like they aren't listening now, and it's just like, yo, if we have to like burn down a store for them to fucking get our attention, if we gotta shut down a fucking highway for them to get our attention, for the media to see us, then like so be it, because we're being ignored. No one's listening to us.
Yeah, I think I think I didn't I studied this. I love this song, but I never really caught the message she was giving. I mean, some of these lyrics. I mean, looking around, high power. The three I's in high power. It stands for represents heart, honor, and respect. And that's what we've been trying to get at for so many years. And Kendrick's been saying that for so many years. And all these lyrics. He talks about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Martin Luther King was a peaceful protest, like a protester. Malcolm X, if something hits us, he wants to fight back. Malcolm X. Kendrick Lamar is more of Malcolm X. Um, a verse that I read about or seen right now is visions of Martin Luther staring at me. If I see it how he sees it, that would make my parents happy. Sorry, mom, I can't turn the other cheek. They want to knock me off the edge like a fucking little pig. So he wants to make his mom happy by saying like, okay, I want to see Martin Luther King's vision in my mom's eyes. What I'm saying, like, he's a peaceful protester, but he's saying like, look, sorry, mom, but there's so much going on right now. We can't have any more protests, peaceful protests. We have to fight back. And it comes to this point, as much as a peaceful protest people want, they keep pushing and pushing. We're gonna have to fight back. We're gonna have to uh, stand up for what's right. Enough is enough. Pretty much that's what he says in one of the verses. I think it's verse 2 of this high power song.
Yeah, there's so much in this song that like he talks about. Like everything's a fucking bar. Um, if you look at it, where is it? He taught like there's this one bar. He says, "My issue isn't televised, and you ain't gotta tell the wise how to stay on beat because your life's an instrumental." You if you listen to like that bar in the song and like how like I guess how like it matches and like everything's on key. Like some shit like my issue isn't televised. It's like it's so true. Like these a lot of these issues that are going on right now, a lot of these problems, like they're not getting the media attention because the news stations won't fucking report this shit. It's not until like now in the age of smartphones, everyone's got a fucking phone that could record, that could post this shit on the internet. It's not until this shit becomes viral that these news companies, these media companies will come out and start showing it attention, and they're not doing it out of like the kindness and goodness out of their fucking heart. They're doing this because people will watch this shit, and this shit will make them money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you know, and it says he's like, and you ain't got to tell the wise. It's like also like a word to the wise, and I think he also talks about like my issues and televised. You gotta tell the wise how to stay on beat because the life's an instrumental. You gotta tell the wise. Oh shit. Wise. Yo, I think he also talks about like not millennials but like Generation Y. You gotta tell the wise. Same generation talks about it. It's the oh, because that's like oh fuck. Yo, I'm a little I'm a little taken back right now. um, I don't know. It's you don't gotta tell them. My issue isn't televised. You ain't gotta tell the wise how to stay on beat because their life's an instrument. Tell the wise how to stay on beat. It's like you don't gotta tell the no. You gotta tell the wise. You don't have to tell the younger generation like how to like how to live, like what to do. You know,
Mm.
because it's life's an instrumental because there's always it's like it's there. I just can't put it into words right now. I'm sorry,
No,
guys,
yeah,
but
no,
it's
it's
just
hard. It's hard. It's definitely hard, man.
uh,
As I'm reading it, I remember this one verse we were talking about. So I got my finger on the motherfucking pistol, aiming at a pig. Charlotte Webb's gonna miss you. And I remember, I think he did a interview with Rolling Stone, and as he was writing those lyrics, he was like, "I was angry to be someone with a good heart, and to still be harassed as a kid. It took a toll on me. Soon you're just saying fuck everything." That line was me getting those frustrations out, and I'm glad I could get them out with a pen and paper. Um, I mean, that's definitely happening today. Kids are getting harassed by the cops for no reason. A good-hearted kid is getting harassed for no reason at all, and Kendrick Lamar was writing that out of frustration. And like you say, he's glad he can get that out on a pen and paper instead of
mm-hmm.
you know, getting his pistol and shooting everybody, shooting the cops. He's using his platforms as a wake up call, and I feel like we don't see it too often, or nobody posts about woke music. This music has been going on for 20 plus years. I feel like we haven't studied enough, to realize what's been going on. A lot of people don't know what's been going on.
Mm. Another great song by Kendrick, and we're trying to keep it just a couple songs by like certain artists because if we really talked about Kendrick and like some of these albums, it'd be like an entire episode. um, but off of what is it? To Pimp a Butterfly? Is it? Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly. All right.
2016, yeah, we all right.
You gonna be all right, and I mean, we are. We won't. Um, all right. It's like awareness regarding police brutality against blacks has left many wondering if the U.S. has made any progress towards racial equality. Rather than despair, All Right assures listeners that through solidarity, we gonna be all right. And it's true. It's like that's what someone said this song means, like what it represents. And through these trying times, through these hard times, what we need is like to be able to depend on our neighbor, to look at the person to the left and right and be like, yo, like I'm with you, I'm here for you, and we're gonna get through this together. We're going to tackle this issue together. You know, for there to be change, we have to do something with this momentum that we have. We need to get as many people together to move forward together as a group, and we can't let off the gas. You know, it's taken so much to get to this point that now it's like a national attention. People around the world are looking. There protests in like different countries. You know, like in England, and Paris, and Japan, and like Sweden and Switzerland. You you know, and it's just they're right. It's the world. The world wants to stand with America and its citizens, and there are people out there to help us. And like in the song, it's like we're gonna be all right. It's just we need everyone.
That's the anthem. It's been like that. That's the and I believe that this song gives us hope. I want to believe that, you know. That's why Kendrick, I feel like he made this song. We're gonna be all right. Like
It,
he's saying, you know, he wants to give hope to people that one day shit like this will never happen again. You know, until that day comes, you know, we're gonna try to be all right. We're gonna try to focus on the positive side, and hopefully one day we can get over this and we can all unite as one. And that's what I love about Kendrick. You know, this whole album, Pimp a Butterfly, whole album, literally is the Black Lives Matter album to me. You know,
yeah.
when it came out in 2016, a lot of people liked it, including myself. I'm not gonna lie. Um, people, I have a feeling people think it was too woke. People didn't want to hear woke music. They didn't want to hear strong music. They wanted to hear turn up music at that time. They wanted to hear party music. I didn't fully understand this album until 2 years later that Kendrick was, you know, trying to speak for the people. You know, I mean, I know I knew what was the motive of this album for sure, but you know, to really understand this album, it takes about a year and a half, I believe, to really understand what's going on and what he's trying to say to us and how he's trying to present it to us. You know, that's through music, and you know, this album is a strong, powerful album. This will go down as history. You know.
Dude, it's so I'm gonna break down the song, just certain parts, certain bars, cause like even in the intro, you know, in the intro, he's just like, "All's my life I had to fight or has to fight, all my life," and then like you think about it, it's just like you think about Kendrick. So just specifically talking about him, you think about where he's from. He's from LA. He's from Compton, where he grew up, and like the like socioeconomic standards like they have and like what it was like out there, and it's just like from a kid he literally had like you have to fight for what you want, you have to fight for your survival, you know. It's like you have to fight for what you want at home, you have to fight at school, you know, to it's like to prove that, you know, you're not a punk, you're not a pushover, you can't just like fuck with me, and you got to be able to like fight on the streets too when like someone wants to like press you. And you like going through like in the first verse, he says, "And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for a pay cut." And like when I heard that, I was just like, "Yo, dude, he's talking about how like you, if you're working at your job, since he, sorry, excuse me, at at his job, since he's a black person, then with the way that he feels with like systematic racism, is that he's going to be the first person that's going to be cut. You know, as soon as something happens to the company, you know, money's looking a little tight, they need to make some cuts somewhere, they're going to be like, boss is going to come down, it's going to be like, all right, I'll cut him, you know, black dude. Why? You know, because he's black. Because just because like I'm anti-black or, you know, these, you know, racist or whatever. And that shit stood out to me. And then in the next bar, he talks about homicide be looking at you from the face down. This is fucking deep, man. You just think of like the word homicide, and it's just homicide's like another word for like murder, right? And they're saying that they're looking at you from the face down, and it's just like, you're face down because like what you were running, and all of a sudden you got 5 warning shots in your back, and like you're dead, you know, and they're looking at you from like up, and it's like, oh, dude. But this Kendrick song, like this whole album, and it really makes you think like how what why do they need to prove that? Why does Kendrick need to prove that he's doing something in the community right now? Like, do you know for a matter of fact that? Do you know for like? Do you know that he's not doing anything? You know, it's just like I feel that now, especially in this era of like social media, if you don't post about it on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever the fuck it is, if you don't post about it, then you never did it. It never existed. You know? Like that's the type of
Yeah,
world we live in.
and that sucks because what if you're doing so much and people call you out because you don't have social media at all? You're done with this. You just want to you just want to join the movement and do your part without even have to posting the thing. It's very sick because I see a lot of these how would you say it, these like promoters or whatever, they are taking pictures of like signs and stuff, but they doing it for clout. Like I seen a video of this girl just holding a sign that says Black Lives Matter, did it for clout, and then she just put the sign down, walked away, went to her car, and went home. Some people are posting it just to show people that I'm not racism, but they're doing it for clout, and it's very sick that it comes to this point where you have to judge somebody by their Instagram, by their Twitter. What if they don't have Instagram? Why they don't have Twitter? Why do they have to show or prove to you guys? Why can't they just be there? You know, Twitter going back to the 90s or 80s, like how did they show power? It was the news. The news has always been there ever since, and you know, it, we're living in a brainwashed world where we want celebrities to like boost our confidence of like, okay, the celebrity's posting, that's good. I mean, that's our side, but they've been by our side for this whole time. They don't have to prove anything. Like Dave Chappelle said in one of his stand-ups, do you really want a celebrity to be there, or do you want everybody to stand together to show what's right?
Yeah, it's true. It's like yeah, in the latest special he did, yeah, it's just like why the fuck do you care about what I think? You know, like I'm just a comedian. Like it's like my job is to make people laugh. Why is my opinion so important? You know, and I wonder that too.
Yeah, a lot of times we forget that these celebrities were like us. They just became famous and have a bigger platform. That's all. I'm saying like Dave Chappelle's run on joke. I don't give a fuck what Ja Rule has to say. I'm worried about my life. I'm
Hmm.
worried about the situations going on. Who gives a fuck about Ja Rule saying? You know, as long as we're standing together for what's right, you know, a celebrity doesn't really mean nothing. It's just a
Hmm.
bigger platform for them. And
Hmm.
if they're with us, they're with us.
Moving on to another artist, uh, one of my favorite artists, and very young too. Joey Badass. In 2017, right after Kendrick released To Pimp a Butterfly, he released All American Badass, and both great albums. And I feel that the timing for Joey Badass was just really unfortunate. If that album came out way later in 2017, I think it would have been received like way better because at this time I think that came out like early 2017 and To Pimp a Butterfly came out like late 2016, you know? So it's like, and at that time, like Kendrick was like king. Kendrick was the best rapper at the time.
Yeah.
And
So
Joey Badass dropped out this fucking gem, dude. And this, in my opinion, this is one of those albums where you can go from song number one to song number like 12, no skips. Like every
it's,
song is good. Um,
it's another woke album that it's very powerful.
Dude, you just look at the title and like how he spells American. You know, it's all Amera and then like three K's, KKK.
KKK.
Yeah,
Yeah.
American Badass. You know. So the first song we want to talk about was Temptation. Lance, you can go with it. You were breaking down the song a lot more than I was at the time. I think I was like really talking about like For My People. That was the
Yeah,
other song
yeah.
that we want to talk about. But yeah, Temptations, dude. Like, what stood out to you? Like, what made you want to pick this song over his other albums or other songs in the album?
So, I love artists that sample speeches, that
Mm-hmm.
sample like oldie music, you know. This speech is very impact. Okay, it's from he sampled his speech from a girl, a 9-year-old girl named Ziana Oliphant. I hope I'm saying it right. She's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the intro starts off. I come here today to talk about how I feel, and I felt like that we are treated differently than other people. I don't like how we're treated just because of our color doesn't mean anything to me. This is coming from a 9-year-old girl. This is after Keith Lamont Scott got shot, gunned down by the police as well. He was a father of 7 children with a wife of 20 years, and he was, he was gone too soon. This little girl spoke in front of the whole, I believe the mayor and the Congress in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she spoke how she felt, and it was very moving. It was very touching, and it fits to this song pretty much because like the chorus was like, I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless. And Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Like, I don't know. This song like speaks so much volumes and speaks so much like it's really touching. Like I remember this one verse. It was like, now everybody got vices, yeah, but wouldn't know what good advice is until they leave them lifeless. Another mama crying is another crisis, and that's true. I mean, like they don't know what's good advice is, and like they gun them down, they leave them lifeless, and another mom's mourning from their son getting lost. And I don't know. I think like Joey Badass, this whole song, it describes like what's been going on, what's happening in this world. And by the end of the song here, the outro says, "Do not stop. We are Black people, and we shouldn't have to feel like this. We shouldn't have to protest because you are treating us wrong. We do this because we need to, and we have rights." This is coming from a 9-year-old girl. A 9-year-old girl shouldn't have to give a speech like this. She should be like playing. She should be not worrying about this. But it's breaking her heart that she's seeing her own people gunned down for no reason. And I don't know. This song is really touching, and the way he sampled the intro and the outro to this song, it's giving us closures. It's reminding us that this is what the song's about.
That's that whole second verse is like crazy because even even some of the shit that's like more like literal, like here he says, "Tell me how we gonna make a living, hustle on the block, who gonna save the children." Like you think about that, like just tell me how we're gonna make a living. They He's talking about like how as a black person, or I think what he's saying is like as a black person, you're depending on the environment you live in, or just beyond race, just depending on the environment you live in. If you live in a bad environment, you're like the cards are already like stacked against you. You know, you think about what opportunities you have. You think about what you could do to better your life, and it's just like, dude, it's not really there. It's not like compared to people who live in like a better city. Like a middle class area, where there's like tons of opportunities and stuff. Even with just like school and everything, you think about how the system for like um, funding schools is so flawed because a school gets majority of their funding from the property tax and like their districts and everything. And if you have a school that's like in a really bad area where like the property tax is like non-existent because people are living on like section 8 or whatever, like they're getting help. You think that, all right, well, these areas aren't getting the funding that they need. These kids don't have the same opportunities, you know and it's just like, so what are we going to do now? And then the next bar, he says, hustle on the block, who's going to save the children? And it's just like, all right, well, if I can't fucking get, if I if I can't fucking go to school because I'm not getting the help I need at school, there are no fucking programs and all this shit. What am I gonna do? Oh, what do I see outside? What do like? What do I mainly see? I'm going to do what I see everyone else doing because it's working for them. You know, it's dangerous and shit, but shit, like I don't have to go to sleep. I don't see them going to sleep hungry. I see them getting like fucking all the Jordans, whatever. You know, this like they're able to provide, but like some deep shit. He also says like, who gonna save the children?
Yeah, and after that verse is it's what we've been talking about. You know, it's man, it's all a plot. I'm just really revealing. The media is trying to make us a villain. I just take the pain and paint a picture. Voices in my head, I hear the whispers. When I feel this way, inhale the swishers, or I sip the liquor. And that's what we've been talking about. Like the media's trying or is portraying African American people as villains,
Yeah,
and
and
it's definitely sad. Like man, it's all a plot. I'm just revealing the plot is basically the system is trying to put a liquor store in every corner in the African Americans' neighborhoods. They're trying to put a gun store in every African American's neighborhood. Why? Because they want them to kill each other.
yeah, it's
It's
like
very
that. It's like that scene in Boys in the Hood. You know, when
exactly.
his dad takes him out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you said. You know, they got liquor stores and gun stores at every corner because like they're just trying to get us to kill each other.
Exactly. They're trying to make us
And
drink us to death, or shoot them, and that's
and
how the system. That's why the I don't know why the system does that, but
and
it's
this is
it's
like
crazy.
and this is like some real shit. But when he says like the media is just trying to make us a villain, yeah, I think about like George Floyd, for example, and with George Floyd, some shit I saw that like people will bring up like his criminal past, like what he did prior to that, you know? And it's just like, well, I don't want to say that, you know, he deserved what he got because he was a criminal, but if you look at his criminal record, you know, he wasn't the greatest person. It's just like, yo, motherfucker, what? Like, how the fuck do you say that shit? What the fuck does that have to do with that incident? What happened right there? You know, you talking about they're trying to say that like, oh, because he got fucking caught with like fucking cocaine like a couple times, like he's a fucking criminal. Becky or fucking Karen's probably sitting at home doing cocaine because her fucking 3-year old's stressing her the fuck out because all of a sudden her nanny can't help take care of her kid or some shit. You know, like those are the
Oh,
same people that be attacking and saying dumbass shit like that.
yeah,
And
it's real sad.
and whenever when these things happen, they dehumanize the victim instead of it being that, oh, you know, it's such a tragedy that that happened. It's like, well, what did he do? Was he resisting arrest? Was he was he you know, was he not complying with the cops? Did he have a weapon? You know, you know, if a cop asks you to like fucking take out your wallet and show your ID, if you move too fast, it's gonna look like you pulling out a weapon. Of course, if I was a cop, I'd shoot him. It's just like, yo, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Exactly. And I always think about that. I always think about the school shooter or the guy that shot the movie theater. They got handcuffed and brought into the police car without any without any force or anything. They just put him in there. With George Floyd and everybody else, Oscar Grant used force on them, put their knees on their necks. As much as they say I can't breathe, they still put force, and I feel like they wanted to kill him. And why are these school shooters? Why are these people that are shooting churches and everything? They're all white. And why are they getting? Why are they not? Why are they like getting treated better? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get the system. I don't get why a guy that killed 2,000 people is getting handcuffed and put in a car very safely and very calmly, whereas George Floyd had the $20 bill, uh, whether it's fake or not, and he's got arrested and he died. That doesn't make any sense. These killers are still alive. Why are these African American people that didn't do anything? Didn't do anything. Trayvon Martin was walking home with Skittles and a hood on. Oscar Grant was trying to get home to his daughter.
it,
George Floyd,
yeah, sorry.
they they didn't do anything at all. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't even hurt a fly. You know?
It's like earlier I brought up how I said that um, what was it? Like I heard in another podcast, it's just like a person might not necessarily be racist or, but they feel a certain type of way, they think a certain way, and sorry, I might be butchering that word in that wrong, but what I'm trying to, I think what I'm trying to say is that, say those instances, like those examples you were using, right? Like, why did it have to happen? It's because of what they are taught. You know, you think that you aren't racist, right? That you are not a racist person. You know, you love all these other people of other ethnicities and everything, right? But do you feel uncomfortable when a black person walks into your store? You know, do you immediately start stereotyping them and you think something? Why the fuck are you thinking that? You know, it's just like there's something wrong there. You know, and it's like, well, I hate to break it to you, dude, but like if you're kind of like that, then you're probably racist. You know, racist, anti-black, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like it's not okay. And it's like, what can you do? And then you start to think. And I feel that there's a lot of people that fall into this category, and these are the people that are saying that they want to be neutral, or they don't have an opinion, they don't want to say anything. It's because maybe they do feel like that and they can't figure out why they think like that, why they feel like that, you know? How, like, you could watch basketball and, like, sports or whatever the fuck, ever listen to music or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, I fucking love black people. Oh, I'm walking down the street and I see someone walking down the street next to me. It's just like, oh shit, let me check my pockets, make sure my pockets are okay. I have everything when he walks by. All of a sudden, I'm super fucking nervous and shit, and it's just like, why, dude? Like, what were you taught when you were little? What did people tell you? You know, like that's what's wrong. That's that's like systematic racism. You know, it's that's what needs to be addressed. That's the shit that needs to change. You can't raise these kids. You can't raise the next generation to think like that, to feel like that. You know. Uh, fuck. It's it's just gonna get it gets deeper. Like this is just it just gets deeper because like we started with Kendrick and now we're going to Joey and just like some other shit that we talking about. But like another great song on his album, we talk about For the People, and to me, For the People like details like the social and political issues that people of color or like face day to day. Like whether it be like just racism or police brutality, just like like racial profiling and other like social issues. And I think about how like just the title of the song For My People, because in this album I feel like Joey kind of comes off as a person that he realizes who he is. He realizes the person he is, the platform that he has, and the influence that he has, and what he can do with all those things. And that's why he made this album. You know, yeah. So, what do you think about this song specifically?
Um, it says it in the title, it's for my people. Even the chorus says, it's for my people trying to stay alive and just stay peaceful. So hard to survive a worth so lethal. Who would take a stand and be our hero of my people? Trying to stay alive and just stay peaceful. So hard to survive a world so lethal. Who would take a stand and be our hero? Like this is literally what's been going on. This is what literally people are thinking. Like, this is what African American people are thinking. Like, trying to stay alive and just stay peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like this song says a lot. I mean, it's basically describing everything. As we're talking about every song, like you said, gets deeper and deeper. And Joey Badass puts it in a different form of his. He's trying to build his, trying to use his platform in music. One of the lyrics it says, "Music is a form of expression. I'm gonna use mine just to teach you a lesson. Rule one: this microphone is a weapon. I'm shooting out the actions, manifesting my passion. Never resting, I'm surpassing the expectation of life in my direction. You know, he doesn't want to dumb down the lyrics for you to get it. He wants you to know that, he wants to show you, this is my form of expression. This is my weapon. This is what I'm going to show you. This is how I'm going to teach you this lesson. And this is what I love about hip hop because, as songs like these and All Right and Changes, you want to dissect the lyrics. You want to understand what's going on. They put it in like a Rubik's cubes of words to make you think, to make you figure out, like, oh shit, like this is happening now. This is what's going on. And another lyric that's came from For My People is wishing all these dirty cops would come clean, still swerving on these city blocks for one thing. And it's not hard to get, but it's in the songs, in the music. And you listen to music every day, right? You read the lyrics and you express how you feel, and this is how he's expressing himself, or how he's expressing what's going on. This is his form, you know.
Yeah, like something that stood out to me in like just his first verse. He says, "It's hard when your back's against the wall, and if you got it all to keep your feet on the floor. So I thank the Lord when I wake up in the morning, 'cause to inform the world the reason why I was born." Um, like just that first part, it's like it's hard when your back's against the wall. You think of again, you think of a person's like upbringing, like what it was like growing up, their living conditions and everything. It's like it's hard to it's hard to succeed, to try to strive for success when you're backed up in a corner and the only thing you can think of is like just your survival. Because like us as humans, it's when shit gets real and like we're down there, and like I feel like I could say this because like I've definitely hit some lows. When you hit those lows, you kind of go into like this like survival mode, dude. It's just like, yo, dude, like I just gotta take care of me right now. I just gotta do whatever it needs to take just to make sure that like I can eat today or eat tomorrow, make sure that like I'm paying my rent, whatever this. And then you think, he says, and if you got it all to keep your feet on the floor. And once you break, like say you break the cycle and you make it out, right, and you start making money and everything, it's just like how many people lose sight of like their vision, you know of what they started out as, and trying to stay true to whatever, like stay true to their morals. I think of an artist I think of is like Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne will say some shit like, "Oh, like I don't like this shit doesn't apply to me." And I was like, "What the fuck do you mean this shit doesn't apply to you?" And then I realized like it's just like, "Oh, this shit doesn't apply to him because he's rich now. You know, he's above all this shit. He doesn't have to worry about this shit because this shit doesn't apply to him because he's got money. He's living the life now. This shit was some real shit when I was like, when I didn't have anything, but like now that I'm out, that's what Joey means. It's like Wayne didn't keep his feet on the floor. Like he's out.
Hmm.
And like I I also think of like in Asian communities, and something I notice a lot, especially with like people who just moved here to America from Asia, certain individuals, how all of a sudden, like, because you're living in America now, and like you leave those conditions that you were living in, all of a sudden, like, they have like this brand new attitude, and like they're all of a sudden like, yeah, I'm not saying everyone's like that, but I noticed there's a fair amount of people. They think like they're the shit now, dude. Like, fucking brand new, dude.
Hmm.
And it's just like, yo, dude, like, what happened along the way to make you lose like your humility? Like, do you not remember where you came from? Do you not remember that you still have family that's like out there living in those conditions? Like, are you all of a sudden too good? And that that shit bothers me. Like, that's some shit I think of like when I heard this line when I thought of this song.
Yeah, like you said, man, it gets deeper and deeper, bro. Like, you know, it's it's what year are we in? We're in 2017 now. You know, things hasn't changed. Just getting crazier and crazier.
um, so the same year, and I didn't really know this because I didn't listen to this, but yo, this is your dude, Lance. This is someone you like.
Joyner Lucas. Yep.
Yeah, in 2017, he dropped his song "I'm Not Racist," and I think that this is one of the songs where you have to see the music video. You need to watch the music video and pay attention to the lyrics because you listen to the song is basically two different people talking to each other. And the first part is this white person, and the second part is this black person. And the whole first part of the song is like what this black person or what this white person is saying about black people, and then you just it like um I don't know. You gotta watch the music video. Uh,
It's basically so the the music the song says is called "I'm Not Racist,"
mhm.
but as this white guy's talking to this black guy, he's literally saying everything that's racist towards black people, and it's crazy. Like I see a black man aiming his gun, but I'd rather see a black man claiming his son. And I don't mean just one day. You're done. I mean, you're still trapped in a rut. I work my ass off and pay my taxes for what? So you can keep living on free government assistance. Like he's literally saying all the racist shit
Like the
that
like
everybody
the
thinks
stereotypes
about
and
African
everything.
American people. Yeah, stereotyping African American people. And this is the line that gets me all the fucking time. All the time when people think that they're not racist. There's a line that says, "I'm not racist. My sister's boyfriend's black. I'm not
Oh
racist. My sister-in-law's
yes.
baby's cousin's Tracy. I got a brother and his girlfriend's black." Like, okay, so people think that if they know African American people, they're not racist. No, or like their sisters work. Like that doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like you still can be racist if you know African American people. You know, it's crazy how they depict they like, oh, this is my black friend. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. But that doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like you, how do I say? You can't. It just makes them justify saying some racist shit because they have black friends, so they can speak however they want. You know, like if a white person has a black friend, they think they can say the N word. No,
I
that's not it at all.
I
Oh no, the
fucking
N word was to for white people to disgrace black people.
yeah,
You know what I'm
it's a
saying?
derogatory term, and like 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 I'll be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like I've definitely used a form of the N word because growing up, I hear other people use it, and in my head at the time, in my defense, it was just like, oh, it's another way that they're saying dude. It's another way of saying like guy or whatever. Like, oh, like that's my dude or whatever. And then like I would justify it because it's like, oh, I hear it in rap music all the time. People use it. I say it around people and they don't care, so it must be okay. But it wasn't okay. Like I was so like blissfully ignorant of it, and then like now, whenever I hear people say it, it's just like, yo, dude, like I'm checking you every time, like and it's just like you said, they'll say some shit. It's just like, oh well, I hang out like my black homie doesn't care if I say it around him. He's just whatever, and it's just like, yo, motherfucker, that doesn't make it okay. Like that's not some shit you could say. And they're trying to, like you said, they think that like one minority, one black person says it's okay, then like they get the pass, but that's not how it works.
Exactly. And, you know,
Sorry, excuse me.
it's in the second verse, you hear the black guy, African American, talking about the N word,
Mm-hmm.
and he uses like this. That word was originated for you to keep us under, and when we use it, we know that's just how we greet each other. And when you use it, we know there's a double meaning under. So you know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
So white people have two meanings. You know, they think it's for friends, but they also use it as a term to keep black people under. You know, it is true. White people have a double meaning for the N word, and it's definitely a problem. You know, even the first verse, he was like, "With all disrespect, I don't really like you white motherfuckers. That's just where I'm at." Screaming "All lives matter" as a protest to my protest. What kind of shit is that? Like, like these people that are saying "All lives matter," as the guy said, is a protest to my protest. You're protesting Black Lives Matter by saying "All lives matter," and it's you know, it's crazy how people don't see what the problem is by saying "All lives matter." You know,
Yeah.
and it's really wild. You know, like as you can see, like the white person in the verse, when you see the video, it's not Jordan Lucas and a white person. It's literally a random white person and an African American person talking to each other,
Yeah.
trying to give their views to each other, trying to see why we do this, why we do that, why African American people are so safe or so careful of what they do around white people, and why white people think that I'm not racist because I hang out with black friends. And he's saying all this racist shit, and I don't know. The video speaks more volumes than if you listen to the song by itself, because the video's it's really powerful. You know what I mean? At the end of the video, they hug it out, you know, and that's what we want. You know, we want unity, we want peace, we want justice, we want to be the same as everybody else.
Yes.
And I feel like this music video, should be taught in like schools, and just this thing like just to see different views of what these people have. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, this music, I think this is like top songs that explains a lot of things that are going on, what white people think, what African American people think.
Like, just like some shit I was just talking about, like, especially with like saying the N word, the whole like fucking first verse. Like, he says, like, yelling N word this, yelling N word that, everyone call everybody N word, and an N word get mad. As soon as I say N word, then everyone react. And it's just like, uh, it's like what you said, dude. It's when they say it, it's the way that they greet each other, but when someone else says it, especially like a white person, there's a double meaning to it, you know, regardless of like if they think that or not. And then he says, and everyone want to swing at me, call me racist because I ain't black, and it's I don't know why it's such a touchy subject, and I don't know why people just can't understand that. Like, yo, like the N word, like black people calling each other that, like that's their shit. You know, that's not our shit. We can't be doing that. And it's crazy how, especially I see in like Asian communities, and like in this podcast, I talk a lot about like Asian communities and shit because like that's like I'm Asian and like I'm part of a lot of like these different groups and everything, and it's just shit I see within like my own communities that's like so infuriating. Motherfuckers will fucking defend their use of the fucking N word over fucking like being down with like Black Lives Matters. They'll be like, they're the same motherfuckers that be like, all lives matter. It's not Black Lives Matter. It's all lives matter. And then they'll be throwing the N word around like fucking crazy. And it's just like, oh, dude, it's just a fucking word. You know, rappers say it in songs and everything. It's just like, dude, you can't fucking say it. It's not okay. And
Yeah.
this song is deep and like along with everything you said and like I keep saying it, it's you you to really feel like the impact of everything, you need to see the music video.
So I want to quote this lyrics before we end this one. So, you worry about your life, so you take mine. I love you, but I fucking hate you at the same time. I wish we could trade shoes or we could change lives so we can understand each other more, but that'll take time. I'm not racist. It's like we live in the same building, but split into both sides. I'm not racist. But there's two sides to every story, and now you know why. And I mean, definitely like if white people and the African American people can switch, if the white people can switch shoes, switch to different lives for just one day, they'll see in their eyes that African American people are getting treated so badly, and they just don't understand it because they have white privilege. You know
No.
what I'm saying? They have they have this privilege. They're safe. They're in a bubble.
Hmm.
We're outside the bubble. African American people are outside the bubble. They're not safe at all.
Hmm.
White people will take advantage of their privilege, be like, oh, yeah, well, he deserved this, he deserved. No, you didn't. He did not. Nobody who got shot deserved any of this, anything at all. You know, as a white person will get pulled over, ticket. That's it. Black person gets pulled over, he gets a ticket, and then he gets talked to, and then he gets pulled out of his car. He gets hurt. He gets beaten down to death. And that's a lot of steps. That's a lot of
There's yeah,
that's
it's a lot of extra shit that doesn't need to happen, but it happens to them because
exactly.
they're and but
They don't get it. They don't get they're white. They have white privilege. They're safe. They're in a bubble, like I said. You know what I'm saying? They don't get what's happening. They always pertain them as criminals. They always say, "Oh, well, he's criminal past this. Well, he did this before that, so he deserved it." No, nobody deserves this at all.
if I'm sorry, no, go ahead.
And I don't know. I mean, like I said, like it's just real frustrating. Real frustrating. People
Uh,
don't get it till this day. You know?
you like if you want to be positive and you think of like positive, you want to like make a positive out of this song, that like that last bar that you were just talking about, I feel like that's what needs to happen for there to be change. You need to get people to sit down together and talk and to see the other person's side of the story, the other person's view. You don't need to necessarily agree with it, but you just need to hear them. You just need to see them, and then you need to come to a middle ground. You need to be able to compromise. You need to be able to talk about these things. You need to be able to be uncomfortable around each other when talking about these things because I feel like if you are uncomfortable about these things, and it is a lot of times like a subject that's very uncomfortable to talk about with people, but it's shit that we do need to talk about, and it just needs to keep being brought up until it's until like you can comfortably talk about these things, and when that happens, I feel like that means that we will have done something. There was some sort of change for us to move forward. You know.
Yeah.
Another song that we brought up is Childish Gambino's "This Is America," that dropped like a year later, and this song came out. The music video, like it was just a music video, right? It came out at the same time, and this is also another song that you really need to see the music video to like really understand the song. Like
Yeah, it's something that we can't explain. You know, and it's a good thing. I think people would need a visual of the song more. You know, like I'm not racist. This is America. Um, yeah, I think a visual is always good for these type of songs, and that's a good thing. As much we could always listen to it without the music video. The music video does impact your point of view in life, I believe.
like there's I feel like this song is like very literal, but like I said, like you need to see the music video to really understand some of the shit going on. But there's this one part in the music video that I don't know why it stood out to me more than like any other part. But there's this part where he's dancing with like these group of kids, and they're doing like these like trendy dances, like from like Snapchat and like Instagram and all that shit, like the Running Man or whatever, or the fucking the floss thing. And in the back, you just see like complete fucking chaos. And that scene stood out to me because whenever there's a serious issue that needs to be discussed, that we need to talk about, somehow the media shifts everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what's trending on Snapchat right now? Oh, do you see these trendy dances? Can you do these dances? And the music video, like, it depicts that. It's just like you see them, they're not phased about all the shit that's going on in the back. They're just doing their dancing. They're just blissfully living in their own fucking world, like their own bubble, like you were saying earlier. And it's just like, oh, well, essentially, this is another fucking distraction from the real fucking issues, and it happens all the fucking time. And it's so infuriating. Like, it's so fucking frustrating.
Damn, I had never noticed that part of the video. That's
Dude, there's a lot of shit, and like you have to really understand like Black history and just American history to like understand some of this shit
mm-hmm,
that like he talks about in this. But it's there's just a lot, and it's hey, Penny, sorry, my dog. Um, you just think about like yeah, there's nothing like super deep and profound in like the terms of the lyrics and like everything, but you like the visual cues and everything from the music video, like that shit is fucking crazy.
oh
Um,
yeah, I mean, yeah. Sometimes you need the visual more than the song, just to get the song better. I guess, in a way.
yeah, I mean, it kind of like it. I guess it depends on the song, but
I get
it
what you said. There's a scene where he's dancing. There's a church behind him, and he has an AK-47 and just shoots the whole church up. And basically, in the title, "This is America." This is America. You can get away with that just by putting handcuffs on, and
the
you're fucking
fucking
just in jail for how many long? You don't even get the death penalty for killing people.
oh,
He's, and it literally happened. A white person went to an African American based church, shot everybody up, and what did he get? He got a slap on the wrist, and maybe what? I don't know how many years he got in jail, or if he could get the death penalty, but he might be still alive in jail, and they're just thinking about what to do with him. You know, there is no second option. It's just one option, and it's just crazy.
so the last two songs that we have, and um, we might cut it a little short just because like we're hitting the 2 hour mark. This is an hour over what I thought we would be doing, but like this is some real shit that we're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
Lil Baby's The Bigger Picture. It came out this year. Came out like 2 weeks ago, a week ago,
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think so.
and when we're this song is like very literal. It's another song that's like very literal. There's no crazy like I feel like there's not like hidden meanings. Like you don't gotta break down like a lot of the lyrics and like do like a deep dive into it. Like like here like one of the notes I have here is like Lil Baby, he kind of raps about his criminal lifestyle, his whole career. Like that's where he's coming from. Like he's from the streets, but now he kind of wants to use his platform to spread a positive message, especially with like the Black Lives Matter movement and how it's gained traction and momentum, and now Lil Baby realizing that the person he is again with his platform, his influence, that he could be a positive change. And now it's like it's a shift. Now this is like very conscious rap, very kind of like opposite of some of the stuff that he really raps about. And I guess I can't really speak about that much because I don't listen to Lil Baby that much.
Hmm.
You know,
I mean, yeah, the song speaks for itself. There's people. I think Lil Baby actually really thought about this song because people were like, oh well, he raps about drugs and killing people all the time. But one of his lines was like, I can't lie, I don't rap about killing and dope, but I'm telling my youngest, hope I did what I did because I didn't have no choice or no hope. I was forced to just jump in and go. I think Lil Baby really put this effort in this song, and I'm surprised it's not number one. And 6ix9ine beat this song.
Dude,
It's crazy. It's
that's
really crazy how
that
he beat this song, and this is a
that's
powerful
it's
song.
so fucking disgusting. I can't.
Exactly.
Um,
Like,
a bar that really stood out to me right here is what he says right here is we just some products of our environment. How the fuck they gonna blame us? You can't fight fire with fire. I know, but at least we could turn up the flame some. Every colored person ain't dumb, and all whites not racist. I be judging by the mind and heart. I'm not really into faces. Like that first part there, yeah, again, it's something we've been saying, or I've been saying through the whole night, is that it's quite literal. He's saying that a lot of people are the products of their environment, and you look at the environment they grow up in, and it's just like, can you really blame them for how they are, what they do, when everything's stacked against them and they're just trying to survive and they're doing whatever they need to do to make ends meet. It's not the right thing, but even Tupac in Changes, he said, it's just like, I've never committed a crime that I didn't need to commit, or I never committed a crime that I didn't need to do, or I never served time for a crime I didn't do. Everything that, any crime or whatever that he was talking about in that song, it was because it was out of necessity. It wasn't because he wanted to do that. It was just because, like, yo, dude, like, I'm backed up into a wall. There's nothing left for me to do. I don't want to do it, but like, yo, it's me or them, and I'm always choosing me.
yeah,
And
I
then,
think the chorus. Maybe you were talking about are you going to talk about the chorus next?
no, I was just gonna say the other part of that bar is what is also true. He says every colored person ain't dumb. Not all, you know.
White.
It's it speaks for itself, and not all whites are racist. It's true. Not all white people are racist. You could be a white person and you could still be down for the cause because you believe that all humans are equal. You believe that Black lives do matter, that Black lives should matter as much as mine, and that I am here. I'm an ally. I will be fighting the good fight with you. You know, and
Yeah.
it's true. You know, I be judging by the mind and heart. I ain't really into faces. You can never really judge a book by its cover. Someone that might when you see a person and you kind of like you're already assuming things. You're already prejudging them without even really talking to them, getting to know like what they're about and what they do. That's like you're already profiling them. You're putting them into a category, and you know nothing about them, and you shouldn't judge a person until you really get to know them. And that goes back to something I said in the very beginning. Just because you experience some hardships, certain bad things happen to you by a certain individual that just so happened to be a certain race, doesn't mean you categorize the entire race and do this blanket statement and just say they're all fucking bad. No, that individual person was bad. He just so happened to be whatever.
And as I don't know, Lil Baby literally thought of everything because like the chorus says it means a lot too. It's bigger than black and white. There's a problem with the whole way of life. It can't change overnight. We gotta start somewhere. Might as well go on head start here. We done had hell of a year. I'll make it count while I'm here. God, it's the only man that I fear. Like the chorus says it all. Like it's literally it is bigger than black and white. It's the problem with everything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's it's what are people are thinking. Like this is crazy. Like it's 2020, literally 2020, and we're still hanging nooses on trees. We're still treating African American people with no respect, and it's insane. Like we're still killing our blacks brothers and sisters. It's real horrible.
It's and you like the chorus. It's bigger than black and white. It's not. It's bigger than just what you see on. Like I when I hear that, I think it's bigger than what you just see. They're deep rooted problems, and it's more complicated than just like this needs to change and this needs to change. There's a lot of like gray area that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like he says, it's a problem with the whole way of life. It's just like racism runs deep in America. In like everything, you know, and it can't change overnight. Change never happens just overnight. It's a slow and long process to get things done. But he's saying that, you know, shit, dude, like, I don't care if it's going to take a long time. I'm willing to put the work in now. I'm here now. There's something needs to happen now. And, like, the change might not happen for, like, another, like, 20, 30 years or whatever. But I'm here to lay out the groundwork to get shit moving, you know? And it's just, yeah, dude, it's a great song. And I really wasn't expecting like Lil Baby to come out with something like this, but like I really appreciate when like an artist makes a song like this.
No, yeah, it shows them that they can do more than just like rap about kind of shows
It's
trying to make a difference.
it's it's what I like in hip hop because like I really like conscious rap, but a lot of time conscious rap could be really fucking corny. Like your lyrics could be meaningful and like impactful and everything, right? But your flow's whack, you know, and you just don't have that like cadence. You just can't carry yourself as a rapper or whatever, you know. Like if it's whack, it's whack. You know, a lot of the shit is gonna come off corny, and like that's what I don't like a lot about conscious rap. A lot of times is that it can really come off as corny. Um, the last song that we have on this list, and probably like one of the most controversial ones that Lance has made aware to me, I had no idea that J. Cole was getting canceled by Twitter and all this, but he released a song last week. Last week, right? Was like last week,
Yes.
June
Yeah.
4th, maybe like 2 weeks ago. Anyways,
Yeah.
he released a song called Snow on the Bluff. That was. If y'all never seen that movie on Netflix, you guys gotta watch it. Um, so when we were discussing about when we were discussing the song, we were like writing down notes and everything. We thought it was best that like we just break down this entire song bar for bar because there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of people that feel very strongly, and you're either on the left or you're on the right. You
Yeah,
know,
there's no in between. There's no togetherness, which is kind of crazy.
uh,
We
and which is some shit that he's talking about in the song.
yeah.
Um, so initially when the song came out, everyone was just like, "Oh shit, he's calling out this female rapper, no name," and this is like direct shots at her, right? Right? Something along the lines of
She
that.
didn't. She didn't. He didn't say her name in the verse, but yeah, people were
There
saying that.
was
Yeah.
definitely like it, if you if you listen to the song and you heard that and then you listen to it, you're like, oh, J. Cole made a song and he's clapping back at like some person that like spoke about him. You listen to it and you're like, oh yeah, I can definitely hear that. I could definitely hear how he's like just calling out another person. But like I don't really think that's the case. And if it was, then because maybe because like I'm a Cole fan, I can't be super like impartial about this. Like I have a slightly biased opinion about it. But let's just break it down and go through. Like first couple bars, he says like people be thinking I'm deep, intelligent, fooled by my college degree. My IQ is average. There's a young lady out there. She way smarter than me.
All right,
Uh,
stop right there. Stop right there. He's complimenting her already. Already,
uh,
he's saying that just because he went to college, that don't mean I'm smart as shit. My
mhm.
IQ is average. There's a young lady out there. She's way smarter than me. Okay, that's he's already being humble enough right there. You know, whether you have a master's degree or whatever degree, your IQ could be average. what I'm saying? He's saying that there's a leader out there, young lady out there smarter than me, okay? It says I scrolled through her timelines in these wild times and I started to read. She's mad at these crackers. She's mad at these capitalists. She's mad at these murderers. She's
Yeah.
speaking her mind. Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that at all. Tweet your mind. Tweet everything you feel. You know, she's mad at everything. That's what we're mad at. We're mad at everything as well too.
Yeah, she says, she mad at my N-word, she mad at her ignorance, she wear a heart on her sleeve, she mad at the celebrities, low key, I be thinking she talking about me. Now, you, in reference to that, I think No Name tweeted out, was just like, yo, where are all these rappers, where are all these celebrities, where are all these people that, like, you hold in, like, high standards, high regards, like, where are they, why are they so absent from social media? I think quite literally she said, like, why don't you see him on the gram? And I kind of took that the wrong way at first because, again, earlier, it's like I said, it's just like, why do I need to do things and post it on Twitter or Instagram and to show that I did something? Why can't I just go out there and be a good person and do good things without having to show off? Maybe show off is like the wrong word, but then like me being a person that like tries to like kind of like see both sides, like I also get it because earlier I was saying that, like, for example, Kendrick and like Joey Badass and like and them, how I'm saying that, or just saying with Little Baby, is like they realize that they have a platform, they realize that they have an audience and they have influence and that they could do something, they could do something for the greater good. But sorry, go
I
ahead.
put up the tweet that she posted. She said, "Poor black folks all over the country are putting their bodies on the line in protest for our collective safety, and your favorite top-selling rapper is not even willing to put up a tweet. A whole discography be about black plight, and they nowhere to be found." So this irks me a lot, like you said, because why do I have to put a tweet or an Instagram post when I could just show up there and support? You know, this whole social media thing, Instagram, Twitter, is really messed up in your brain because people base it off your page on Instagram, based off who you are as a person. And it does really suck. But after this tweet, or I think before this tweet, I don't remember, but Kendrick was in Compton with DeMar Rosen, and J. Cole was in Charlotte in his hometown protesting as well too. My thing is, look, these top selling rappers are doing the most for their people. You know, people are gonna take pictures, people are gonna post it on Instagram, people are gonna post it on Twitter that they were there. They like to move in silence, and I believe moving in silence is way more better than boasting about it on Instagram. As we were talking about Kendrick and J. Cole, they had done a lot for the community. They've been talking about it in their music ever since they came out in this industry. And for her to say that, it's kind of like, okay, J. Cole and Kendrick hasn't done anything at all. She basically said that. She basically said that they haven't helped anybody at all. But as you can see, J. Cole was at the Eric Garner protest as well, speaking his mind, speaking his intelligence. Kendrick Lamar as well too. And you have to watch what you say because these people are doing the most, maybe even more than all of us, without showing on Instagram or Twitter. And like I said, people are posting Black Lives Matter for clout. Some of them, it's very sickening. They hold up a sign for Black Lives Matter and then they just walk away and they go into their car and drove home.
Oh,
They do
dude,
it for
I
the
saw
clout.
that. Yeah, it's and like that's yeah, dude. Like shit like that pisses me off, and it's like you don't fucking care, so don't fucking bother.
Exactly.
And you're gonna use this. You're gonna use this as a way to just like kind of like further yourself. You're gonna use someone else's misfortunes to like come up. Like, uh,
Exactly. Instagram can fool you in the craziest way possible.
yeah.
Twitter can fool you. Okay?
And like this song, especially like the whole like all the drama behind it and everything. I honestly, this is why I don't fucking go on Twitter, dude. This is some shit that like Twitter fucking does, man. You know, like
Mm,
they're positives here, and then they're just gonna put fucking people up against each other. You know,
exactly.
uh, yeah, like going through it more. Um, even like just like still in the first bar, how he says like Edwards be thinking I'm deep, intelligent, full of my college degree. Like you think about that, and it's just like Cole, like yeah, people assume that because you graduated college, you went to college, you got a degree, that you're a very intelligent person. And what he says, I think, is that, or what I think is that even though you're deemed smart and intelligent, maybe not so, or maybe he's trying to say that it's just like, yeah, maybe I am smart, but don't let this degree tell you that I'm smart. Don't think that I can't learn from others still. Don't think that I can't learn from my mistakes. Don't think that someone can still teach me things. And I think this is like kind of like what it is. You know, it's just like she said some things, and then now he's kind of responding to it. And the first thing he's trying to say is just like, yo, I'm not as smart as everyone thinks I am, or maybe like I, I'm human, you know, and I can still learn from all this. I can still learn from others. Um,
Exactly. And there's another bar right here. It says, and the frustration that fills her words to seem come from the fact that most people don't see. Just cause you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. How you gonna lead when you're attacking the very same words that really do need the shit that you saying instead of conveying you hollering, come help us get up to speed. So that bar, that verse, he is talking about the tweet that she put about white supremacy as African American people, specifically males. They don't talk about the transgender um, blacks or the other Black Lives Matter. So she called them white supremacists. Now she's tweeting, putting down the African American community, like African American males. She's putting them down. That's why Cole was like, just because you woke and I'm not, that shit don't ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. How you gonna leave when you're attacking the very same in words that really do need that shit you be saying? Instead of you conveying you hollering, come help us get up to speed. So instead of her tweeting, she should have talked to these people about using their platforms in a way that they can help people understand what's going on. Um, I think what threw people off is the verse was like, I don't really like this queen's tone. Now, he called her a queen, but I guess the term tone got thrown off a lot in this whole debate thing.
yeah, because if you think about it, um, and I can't really speak about it because like one I'm not a woman, and then two, like her, no, that's gonna come out wrong. Fuck, what am I trying to say? It's like this stereo, like you think about it, there's like a stereotype about like black women, right? And then
Yeah.
now when you hear the word tone, you think of like, are they correlating tone with like attitude? They don't like her attitude, the way that she's saying this, you know? And then that's like red flags and everything. I don't know. That's when I heard that. That's what I thought. That was like the first thing I thought. I was just like, oh, so she doesn't like, he doesn't like the way she's talking. Like, all of a sudden, like you trying to say she has like hell attitude or something, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but it's right. Like I agree with him though. You know, just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. Like it's true. It's just like say you're not the most like politically aware person. Say you're not the most educated on that subject, right? just because another person is, doesn't mean that you get to talk down on them about these things, you know? And Cole's trying to say, like, we we need to stand together with this, and instead of like coming, or Cole is perceiving her to be coming at him, and people say like in his same position or feel the same way as him a certain way, you know, saying that like, yeah, it's like, yo, like, chill, like, I'm on your side, but it's just like, maybe we need to, you need to reapproach what you're trying to say about it, you know? It's just like, maybe you're gonna alienate some people, maybe you're gonna make them like the enemy or something like that. That's what like I initially thought when I heard this.
Hmm.
Uh,
I don't know. I think Twitter took it the wrong way. You know, her tweeting. You know, celebrities tweet at each other to get controversy, right? To get up there. But you know, at this moment in time, when she tweeted at when J. Cole she tweeted, you know, your top selling rappers are not there. It's kind of like, you know, instead of tweeting it, why don't you talk to them? Why don't you see where they're at in the community? Let me see what they're doing instead of putting it to the whole world that your top favorite rappers is not going there, which they are. But guess
he's
what? They're not, like I said, they're not promoting it on Instagram and Twitter because they don't give a fuck about that shit. They give a fuck about justice. They give a fuck about peace. They're not gonna post it every second, every minute of the day. They're gonna go out there and just do it, you know. And for her to say that, it kind of gives a blow to them, you know. Not saying, look, I'm not putting her down or nothing, but you know, we live in a world where social media takes over our minds, and if we don't post something, you're not doing nothing.
right. Um, Another bar that he says in here. Uh, I struggle with thoughts on the daily. Feel like a slave that somehow done saved enough coins to buy his way out of slavery. Thinking just maybe in my pursuit to make life so much better for me and my babies, I done betrayed the very same people that look at me like I'm some kind of hero because of the zeros next to these commas, next to the commas. And like, me like at some point, does he feel like he is he saying that at some point he felt like he sold out? You know, and it's just like, oh, now that or kind of like what I was saying earlier with like Wayne, it's like, yo, now that I got money, it's just like, are these problems still like my same problems? You know, like, am I above these things now because I got money? And the people that look up to me, my fans and everything, it's like, am I like dishonoring them? Am I doing them wrong by not by like portraying myself as like a different person or something? I don't know. It's sorry, I can't quite put into words how I feel about this.
No, no,
But
I get it. I think I'm gonna try to get what you're trying to say. So I'm thinking that Cole said in an interview that he's not the leader that everybody wants to be. As much as he loves his fans, he wants to be that leader. But us as fans, we portrayed him as that leader,
mm-hmm.
and you know, he's like he doesn't want to fail us. He's thinking about us. He doesn't want to fail the community. So we put him as that leader. He didn't put himself as the leader. He didn't say, "Look, I am the leader of the new school. I am leader of this." No, we did it. We portrayed the Kendricks and the Coles to be our leaders because we look up to them. You know, there's celebrities. We want them to feel. We want them to be our leaders of the new school. But you know, Cole doesn't want you to uh, doesn't want to like what I'm saying doesn't want you to see doesn't want him to like look him up to him as a celebrity. He wants him to look at him as a regular person. You know, like as going back to Dave Chappelle, like fuck this celebrity shit. You know, we all have to stand as one. And I think we're putting so much pressure on J. Cole that at times he just feel like he's not doing enough and he's failing us. You know.
Yeah. You're right. It's Uh, it's difficult because like me, just with how I like perceive things and how my mind works now is that I always I always try to see like both sides. You know, I always try to understand where both sides are coming from, both people, and I feel like a lot of the times like that causes like a lot of issues, and that makes me very like wishy washy. You know, like I I believe in A, but then I hear B, and then B kind of like because I understand where B is coming from, it kind of changes my view of like A, and then that becomes like C, you know, and then it's just like I don't know. It's like you said, dude, with like social media and everything, and like Twitter, like this was just kind of like blown way out of proportion and everything. I think,
Yeah.
but you listen to the outro and what he says, like, can you walk with me? I hope we'll find the reason why we often sob, go on, cry, painful memories fuck up the vibe. Though I be trying to let the time heal my mind. Like it's like regardless of what I say here in the song and like what your response will be, it's like, are we still going to be able to move forward and walk down the same path together? We might not we might not believe in like the same like methods. I have a different method, you have a different method, but we're still going down the same road. We're just approaching it differently. Are we still going to be able to meet somewhere midway and tackle this bigger issue beyond our own issues, you know, beyond our own pride or egos or whatever? And that, you know, like I feel that like this whole song's fucking deep, but like this fucking outro just like hits me, dude, because that's that that's some shit that I'm dealing with right now. That's some shit I believe right now. You know,
Hmm.
like he's saying, like, and then the second part of the song is like, I was once a child, I've gotten older still. I know I'm just a boy in God's eyes. Fill me up with wisdom, some courage, plus endurance to survive. Help mine thrive. I think that's just like him just having a personal conversation with like God. You know, he's looking to a higher power to find courage and strength to tackle this issue, tackle this
Yeah.
problem. And you
Yeah.
know, even like even Cole like tweeted out after he released the song. You know, he says like you know he can't be right or wrong, but he meant every word that he said, and he's being honest about it. He tags No Name and he tells his fans just like, yo, dude, don't attack her, love her, honor her. You know, as a leader in these times, she's she's aware. She's he's kind of like saying like she's a better leader than him. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
and
he's giving her props, and at the last verse, he was like, Cole, I appreciate what you're doing, my people. That's real, but damn, why I feel fake in the snow on the bluff? Well, maybe that's because deep down, I know I ain't doing enough. At the end of the day, it was like, yeah, No Name is doing more than I am, and I feel like I'm disappointed in you guys. Twitter literally was trying to have beef with between J Cole and No Name, but we should have just stand together instead of trying to portray them as a beef. At this time, yeah, yeah, J Cole is kind of wrong to put this song out to picking No Name, but at the same time, he is telling No Name that you are doing the most, that you are the leader,
yeah,
and
it's
it's how can
he
I say it? It's really crazy how people are trying to separate them when J Cole was literally commenting her and telling her that you're doing better than I am.
yeah, it's like here you like reading something right here. They said like No Name has a book club. She started this book club in like 2019, which strives to educate and empower people of color. And like the book club here, they say like every month they bring like two different books written by like different authors of color, and they try to just educate people. And like that's dope. And then I think like Cole found that out, and then he that's when he made the tweet like to No Name and everything, where he's like, like maybe I wasn't right, maybe I was wrong, whatever. It's just, but like, I'm just being honest to my feelings, and I'm saying how I feel, and people can perceive that however they want. But at the same time, it's like it's like you said, like I recognize you as a smart and intelligent woman, a person that has an influence, that has a certain power, that has this charisma, that you can lead our people down this path, and that some it might not be now, but whenever, like we will reach our goals, and we can do it together. It's just you need to let me. You also need to teach me. Like I need to learn. Like I am also wrong. I'm also wrong in my ways about things, and I'm admitting that. But the important part is like, what can we do to move forward? And that's just how I see it. And then that's my take on it. And like that's it.
That's our pretty much how we feel, and this is this is the song to end it all. Because
Yeah,
we can't separate everybody. We trying to stay together.
yeah,
We can't separate our leaders. I'm saying we can't do that. We have to keep it together.
yeah. We need to stand together. We need to stand united. We need to. We can't alienate any more people. We like us as individuals. We also need to realize our part, what we can do, what you know, whether it be like making a donation or going out there protesting or even something as little as like just around you, like you have a family member that always says shit that you know is wrong, but you always like bit your tongue, you never said anything. Well, now's the time to fucking call them out for whatever, the piece of shit that they are. Same thing with your friends and everything. It's just like you need to. There's it's gotten to this point. Sometimes I feel like it's gotten to this point because, especially like again, sorry, like Asian culture, you're taught to not say anything back to your elders because it's disrespectful. Anyone older than you, even though they're saying like mad, crazy, racist shit, you're supposed to, turn a blind eye and be like, oh, I didn't hear you say that, or it's just like, oh, it's whatever. You're just my uncle, whatever. You're my aunt or whatever. You always say that like crazy shit. But it's like, no, dude, it's not okay. And like we, I say, we need to be the change that we need in the world. That and like to just treat others how you want to be treated and just love everyone. That's some real shit. And yeah. And so, what do you think, Lance? It's been about 2.5 hours since we started recording this, and I it's long, but like I'm gonna leave it uncut, unedited. It's just gonna go up like this. But it's some real shit. I think we did good. I was very scared to do an episode like this when Lance brought it up because again, there's so much I want to say, but I don't know how to quite put everything into words, which is good that, we put down notes and everything this time. But it was still very difficult for me to talk about some of these things because like I want to be very careful about how I say things because, you know, I might say something and it comes out not how I heard it in my head, and people might take it the wrong way. And it's just like I'm just trying to be super careful about that right now because this what we're talking about like I feel very strongly about. I felt that like there was something that me and Lance could contribute to this conversation, contribute to to the culture, to the movement or whatever,
Yeah, um, exactly. I mean, me and Kyle trying to think of this very, very carefully. But, we talked about this for 2 weeks. We didn't want to rush things. We wanted to do this step by step. Probably the longest episode we ever done, but this is like the right episode for
this
the
is
amount of time that we're doing.
yeah, right. This is probably like one of my like most like proudest like episodes, like something like I'm super proud of doing. A lot of times, like sometimes it's like we record these things and I listen to it and like I try to edit the audio and everything. It's just like, oh, dude, I don't like how I sounded, or I don't like the way we're talking, or like the sound quality's not that good, or whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck about any of that right now, because I feel that the shit that we're talking about is like some real shit, and it's just like that's the important part, like our content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get a point across that enough is enough. Justice, we want peace. Black Lives Matter. And this is something that is from our hearts. This is what we've been going through. It's just a real sad moment. Just a real sad time in our lives that we had to go through. But it's a real crazy world, and this is how it is right now. It's sad, and we just hope it's gonna change pretty soon. Hopefully better.
Yeah. Facts. But with that, guys, I'd like to call it a night. Want to thank everyone that decided to drop in on Twitch and watch us on Twitch, and we'll have this up on YouTube and our SoundCloud and everything. Also, I'm just really interested in what you guys think. You guys can either leave comments in the videos when it goes up on YouTube, or hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I have my socials in the thing. I got Lance's socials in the thing, so you can hit him up to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and just let us know, because these are the things that we need to talk about, and we're here for people. If you agree with us and you like something we say, let us know. If there's something that you disagree and you didn't like us say, well, let us know too. Like, what didn't you like? What did we say that was wrong? What was your opinion about it? And then, we could talk it out, because that's what needs to happen. We need to be able to talk these things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help us learn. Help us learn what we should do better.
Yeah.
What should we speak better?
Exactly. Yeah. Help us be better.
That's
All right.
all.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, call it a night. Yeah. It's good seeing you, Lance. Peace out, guys.
See you too, man.